Hello friends, it's Simone. Today I want to share with you a Swatching with Friends episode. As usual, my friends are very generous. It's nice to have pen friends with benefits, to be honest, who send you samples when they can. So I have received samples from Shauna, who is Serial Nana here on YouTube, as well as Sarah, who is Ginger Peachy Pens, Ginger Peachy Stationery, something with Ginger Peachy. I will link their channels in the description box below. But before I dive into all the things, I would love to encourage you, if you like what you're seeing and if you would love to have ink samples as well, to reach out to your friends. If you don't have any social media friends, that's fine. There's always a way you can scour the comments of YouTube videos and see if there is a person who comments in the same fashion as you do, and it seems like they are very similar to you. Or if you're on Instagram, check out people. It doesn't have to be all the big names. I have been thinking of maybe I should do that. Pen paling Paula frequently, sometimes posts an Instagram post where she lets people comment and find pen pals if they are interested in getting new pen pals. And maybe I should do something like that too. I'm not sure if I should do it here on YouTube or on Instagram. Instagram is easier because you can then directly DM the people. But of course, and obviously my following here on YouTube is bigger. So I'm not sure if you have an opinion about that. So I would maybe post a photo where I encourage people to talk in the comments and find new people to swap inks with and maybe become pen friends, fountain pen pals, if that makes sense. I'm not going to say that anymore. I decided. My husband hates it, and I actually, I'm trying to express myself clearly, and so I shouldn't ask if that makes sense. All right. So that's the idea that I have. I also want to host another ink swap in August, or starting in August, going into the month of September. I will announce that at the end of July, I think. Right now, I haven't planned that far ahead in my life yet, but that's the general idea. Shauna is one of those pen friends that I got through my YouTube channel. She kept consistently commenting on my YouTube channel, and it just felt like we were very similar. Also, our pen tastes is similar, so we have a lot of the same pens in our fountain pen collection, and that just, that is something that bonds people together. And then maybe she likes my humor, I like her humor, or the way that she comments on my YouTube videos, and that's then how we got in contact. We chatted, and we found out that she was visiting her family in the US because she is from the UK, which makes sending packages that much harder and more expensive. And so we sought out that opportunity to just exchange Happy Mail, and that's where those ink samples are from. She gave me a whole list of samples that she let me choose from, and I was really picky because I do have a lot of them, so I only chose 3, but she has so many amazing inks. I chose Diamine Safari, which is a really nice olive green, I would say. Yes, I am saying, I'm not just would say. And it is more saturated than others, and it's one of those inks that I would really, really love to get into a fountain pen soon. So if I'm not going to add it to any of my rotations before the month of September, I will have this ink in my 30 inks, 30 days at some time. The next one I have is Diamine Aurora Borealis, which I already had a sample of, but I used it all up. And I now have become very curious to compare it to Lamy Tourmaline and other teal inks to see how it actually compares. And so that was a great opportunity to get another sample. And then I also asked her to send me a sample of KWZ Honey, which I have really gotten a liking to the KWZ inks. I talked about this previously. I was afraid because they are all vanilla scented that I would not like them because I'm very, very sensitive to smells. And I get headaches and nauseous and all that. So I'm surprised that I'm able to work at Starbucks where there is so many different smells, coffee smells, but that doesn't bother me at all. But if we get a customer who has a lot of perfume on, I can smell it like around the next corner in the bathroom, and it's really, really disturbing. So I'm this sensitive to smells. My husband always is like, "What are you sniffing again?" I'm like, "I can smell something," and he's like, "I can't smell anything. There's nothing." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. It smells like there is something, this and this, and sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't." But I do really. Last night I couldn't fall asleep because a tree in front of our house is blooming, and it's so obnoxious. Oh my gosh. Okay, going back. So I was afraid of the KWZ inks, but they are so well lubricated, and I really like the colors that I have tried. So every chance I get at trying sampling a KWC ink, I take it. And so I asked Shauna to send me one of those. I think that's an exclusive ink though. KWZ Monarch looks amazing online, and I would love to get my hands on a sample of that. But, you can always dream. So those were 3 samples that Shauna sent me, and the ones that I'm swatching right now is from another amazing. Did you see what I just did? I usually write ABC, but for some reason I wrote cat. Okay, well, another amazing swap with Sarah. I talked about this before. You saw my pens that she lent me in April. I also sent some to her. I will link that video in the description box below because it was really a fun experience. And if you have the opportunity to have friends that trust you with their pens, again, this is something that I highly recommend. It's such a good opportunity to test fountain pens that might be out of your league or that you're not really comfortable purchasing because you don't know if you would like it. This is a really good way to do that. Of course, we trusted each other that much that we sent each other quite expensive pens. I think she trusted me more because I just didn't have any of those expensive pens in my stash at the time. So, but we sent them Priority Express insured, I think, so that if there was anything getting lost in the mail, it wouldn't be too hard to recover from that loss. And it was obviously very clear that if her pens got lost, I would have to replace them. That's just how the world works, for me at least. So she also sent me a huge list of inks. And as I said before, I'm very selective at the moment with what I bring into my house, but I found 4 that I had never tried before, or again, 2 that I actually had in my stash previously when I didn't do these swatches, comparison, or anything, and I just wanted to see what the inks looked like again now that I have more experience. So Colorverse Cat was a must because, of course, I am a cat mom. You often see these cats in my videos. And so I really wanted to try this. It's a glistening ink. I have never had Colorverse glistening ink, so I'm curious how that works. It's a really bright blue with blue silvery shimmer. And then Pelikan Edelstein Olivine. Yeah, it's a green. Doesn't really do much for me. But given the fact that I think these bottles aren't really available anymore, I took the opportunity to try that sample. And it's good that I can say that I'm not missing out not having any any of those inks. However, I am missing out on Pelikan Edelstein Apatite, and I really want to get my hands on a bottle of those. So yeah, I am more of a bright 80s girl with pinks, teals, bright yellows, all of those bold colors. That's totally me. Purples. And then I asked her for a sample of Diamine Autumn Oak, which so many people love this ink. And I had this as a sample maybe in 2018. It's one of the first swatches that I made. And I don't know, it's green. It has a green hue. And for some reason, inks that have green hues just don't vibe with me. And so I really want to give this one more chance because I can't believe that everybody loves this ink but me. And maybe I just hadn't cleaned the pen enough or it was in the wrong pen. And so I want to give it one more chance and then say, okay, I really don't love this ink. It's not a shame. There are so many beautiful inks, orange inks. If I can suggest one, if you want a bright, bold one, I can recommend KWZ Grapefruit or Pilot Eroshi Zuku Fuyugaki. I think that's the name. Maybe they will come up and show up in the color comparison later on. I have filmed this in March. It is now May 31st. No. So if you watched my other videos, I filmed the voiceovers on the same day. This is the last voiceover I'm recording, and I cannot for the life of me get my head around the fact that there is 31 days in May. Today is May 30th, and for some reason, for me, this is the last day of May. And so since there's 31st days, it must be May 31st, but it's not. There's one more day in May, tomorrow, May 31st. Yeah, not cool. And then she sent me a sample of J. Urban Emerald de Chivoire. Emerald de Chivoire. Which was one of the first inks. So when I dove back into fountain pens in 2017, there must be videos of my first dive back in on this channel somewhere. I ordered a favorites sample pack from Goulet Pens. I don't even know if that even still exists. And Emerald de Chivoire was a part of that. And I used it. And I didn't really have problems with it. There were other shimmer inks included in that pack. I think I purchased 2 packs that did not do it for me at all. Here I'm comparing the Swatch, and I'm showing it to you one more time because it changed. I think I redid it because it just didn't look right. It is very, very similar to Papier Plume Moss Green, I think is the name of that ink. Here's another photo of that. I really want to use this color comparison notebook in my swatching videos in the future. I haven't really made much progress yet, but that's a thing that I would love to do. So let's go back to Emerald de Chivoire. And I used that up and I haven't used it since. And since everybody really loves this ink, again, it's one of those that I would just give one more chance. And you can see I'm really drawn to the same inks over and over again, which this lineup that I have here, I could put all of those inks into a rotation and be really happy with it. Maybe a lighter red or a pink would be included, and then that's it. I'm comparing the colors that I have here. KWC Honey is very light on the Tomoe River paper, but it's not really that light on the swatch card. So I'm not sure how it will perform on other papers for sure. What was I going to say? Yes, so I often try to compare both the swatch on the card as well as the writing, because I have noticed, I mean, if you think about it, it's pure logic. The swatch is very saturated. You can see the base color, but then when you write with the ink, sometimes even though the swatch does not look anything like the other swatch, the writing is very similar though. And so that's something that I'm trying to incorporate in my comparisons to seeing, okay, the color swatch is similar, but the writing is very, very close to this color that is not even close. And I'm not saying if that makes sense, because if it didn't make sense, I can't really help it. So I'm looking at this, and the interesting thing is that Diamond Autumn Oak does not have a comparable ink in my swatches, which is interesting. I only have a really, really tiny sample of Wearing Ghoul. Oh, what's the name? I forgot. Let me check it out one more time. Who's faster? Wearing Ghoul Wayfarer? It looks so similar to Emeraude de Chevroir, but it has a purple sheen, and I really like that. If I wasn't so afraid of shimmer inks, I would probably purchase a bottle of Wayfarer because it's so pretty. I actually prefer it over Emeraude de Chevroir. I'm at the end. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any of those inks, I think they're very common among pen people. Let me know what your favorite is, how you're experiencing these inks in your fountain pens. I cannot wait to see you again. Until then, bye.